Okay, so there's been a Joy Reid saga going on, and you don't really hear me talk about Joy Reid that much. And the reason being is I don't like to give a lot of energy to things that I don't like, you know. And I have love for her, I have love for everyone, but you know, I really don't like the news analysis she does. I find a lot of the people, especially Joy Reid on Twitter and MSNBC, I find them very fake, very dishonest, very negative, very nasty, and just kind of straight up delusional and total lack of self-awareness. And that's kind of why I'm talking about it now. One, I just think it's so hilarious. I couldn't help myself. But it also brings a whole point that I'm trying to get through to people like Joy Reid and, you know, like other people who watch MSNBC and CNN and who have the, you know, classic liberal mentality. There's nothing wrong with peace, love, and positivity, but when you're delusional and you lack complete self-awareness, it does become a problem. And I'm just being honest as a friend and, you know, an ally and someone who loves you instead of, I don't argue with people on Twitter all the time, but I do have to say this is a total encompass of the delusion and the complete lack of self-awareness of people like Joy Reid. And it's so funny. So what happened was people dug up some old blog posts that she had, and the old blog posts were, I guess, homophobic. She was saying some mean things about the LGBT community. And to be honest, I think it's not a big, I'm not saying it's not a big deal. I support the LGBT community. But if you made a mistake, it's not a big deal, especially if it's 10, 15 years ago. If they dig up my old tweets, I'm just going to be like, yeah, I was a complete moron. You know, I was 18 years old. I was 19 years old. I was at West Virginia University in the alcohol culture, drinking, and you know, I was dumb. Like, I was young, and I wasn't very, you know, wise at the time. So it's like, it's not a big deal. I would just be like, I'm sorry for saying that. I was wrong. But she's so delusional that she doesn't even believe that she said it. And she's like, and this is not just with her blog post. It's literally with, like, every aspect of the liberal mentality. I'm just being honest. They're so delusional that they actually believe themselves. They've lied to themselves so many times. So instead of just saying sorry, and I'm going to play the clip of her apologizing. It's so funny. Got a little boombox here for it. She hired a hacking team to be like, I was hacked, and I got to figure out if I got hacked, because, like, there's no way I could have possibly said that. So they're investigating, and they found out that she didn't get hacked, and there's no proof. So all the CNN and New York Times headlines are like, Joy Reid makes a claim that she got hacked, and someone said that for her. And she can't prove it, and they just can't figure it out because she probably just said it, but she's like total delusion and lack self-awareness that she can't even admit that she might have said that. So here's her apology. It's hilarious. We're going to listen to it and talk about it.
Good morning and welcome to AM Joy. A community that I support and that I deeply care about is hurting because of some despicable and truly offensive posts being attributed to me. Now, many of you have seen these blog posts circulating online and in social media. Many of them are homophobic, discriminatory, and outright weird and hateful. When a friend found them in December and sent them to me, I was stunned. Frankly, I couldn't imagine where they'd come from or whose voice that was. In the months since, I've spent a lot of time trying to make sense of these posts. I hired cybersecurity experts to see if somebody had manipulated my words or my former blog. And the reality is they have not been able to prove it.
They can't prove it.
But here's what I know. I genuinely do not believe I wrote those hateful things because they are completely alien to me. But I can definitely understand, based on things I have tweeted and have written in the past, why some people don't believe me. I've not been exempt from being dumb or cruel or hurtful to the very people I want to advocate for. I own that. I get it. And for that, I am truly, truly sorry. I had a conversation the other day with a friend who's also an advocate in the LGBTQ community in Florida, who rightly took me to task for my tweets mocking Ann Coulter using transgender stereotypes. I apologize to my friend, and I want to apologize to the trans community and to Ann. Those tweets were wrong and horrible. I look back today at some of the ways I've talked casually about people and gender identity and sexual orientation, and I wonder who that even was. But the reality is that, like a lot of people in this country, that person was me. I grew up in a household that, like many in America, had conservative views on LGBT.
Hold on, I gotta pause it. It's so funny. First of all, she says, you know, I don't think I said that. I'm so, you know, I can't believe it. I hired a cybersecurity team because someone had to hack me. I couldn't have said that. And then she apologizes to the LGBT community and the trans community. And then she blames conservatives instead of taking... She's like, I grew up in a conservative household. All right, I got to go. Hold on. Let's go.
Few issues. I had friends, some of my closest friends, in fact, growing up, who I later learned were gay and who had kept it secret from me and from everyone else we were close to because they didn't know what we would say or if we would still be friends or whether we would look at them differently. I can remember a friend of mine, my freshman year in college, telling me he was gay, and my knee-jerk reaction being that it was so disappointing to the women he could have married. He was so hurt, he didn't speak to me for months. I'm heartbroken that I didn't do better back then.
Okay, hold on a second. The hypocrisy and the tennis ping pong game in her head is just too hilarious. Okay, so she starts off by saying, there was a homophobic post in my blog, and I just can't imagine that those words came from me, and I just couldn't imagine ever saying that. So I hired a cybersecurity team to see if somebody hacked me and wrote those words for me because I could have never said those words. And then she goes to say that she told one of her gay friends that, you know, you're missing out on all these women that you're marrying. So you clearly know that you could have said something, you know, homophobic because you just admitted, you know, 2 minutes later that you literally said something homophobic to one of your friends and he wouldn't even talk to you again. I mean, it's just like, I feel bad. This is why I'm so nice. Besides the fact that I really just like everyone, and I don't even care about politics. I think it's a total distraction, and I love my liberal friends. But it's like the level of delusion in the liberal media elites. I feel bad for them because they're not bad people. I think they actually believe themselves. Like, she's like, I just don't even think I could have said that. So I got to hire a cybersecurity team to see if someone hacked my brain and, you know, maybe wrote it for me. And, but, you know, I did say something homophobic to my friend to the point where he never talked to me. So, could I possibly... Let's go on.
Knowing so many great people in the LGBTQ community, including amazing friends and journalists and producers and political operatives and great dads and moms and advocates and just regular people. And knowing how hard it must have been for so many of them to come out to their families, to their friends, to just walk around in the world, especially for trans people. And I feel like I should have known better than to ever write or tweet in a way that could make fun of or make light of that pain and that experience. Even a decade ago, when the country was in a very different place. But I cannot take any of that back. I can only say that the person I am now is not the person I was then. I like to think I've gotten better as a person over time, that I'm still growing, that I'm not the same person I was 10 or 5 or even 1 year ago.
Wait, she just admitted that she's still growing? Gotta give her props on that, because usually it's like, I could never possibly be wrong, and there's nothing for me to learn because I know everything. Okay, let her finish.
I know that my goal is to try to be a better person and a better ally.
Please do. Please be a better person.
Now, the reality is,
Please.
I have to own the things that I've written and tweeted and said. And I'm hoping out of all of this, there's an opportunity to talk about the ways in which hurtful speech really does imperil marginalized communities. These issues matter, not just theoretically.
They do.
But because we're talking about our friends, our kids, our coworkers, people who deserve better than what I have sometimes given them.
Okay, so it's just so much hypocrisy and just like delusion that I do want to say, first of all, you know, I'm a big supporter of the LGBTQ community. I don't know if I said something 10 years ago that might have offended them, but, you know, I would own up to it. And, you know, I've been very supportive thus far. She said, you know, at first she said, I couldn't have possibly said that. You know, I had to hire a cybersecurity team to figure out if someone hacked me and said it for me. But then she said that, you know, I said something homophobic to my friend when I was younger and he never wanted to talk to me again. So clearly she knows that she was like saying type of stuff like that. She blamed her conservative family. And then at the end she said, you know, I'm owning up to it. That's, I mean, I appreciate it. And to be honest, my opinion doesn't really matter. I'm just a kid on a couch, you know, streaming onto Facebook and YouTube. So it's like, you know, what I say right now pretty much doesn't really matter. But I mean, do you think that's like an authentic apology when you deny it? It's not like you're just denying it. It's not like a white lie where you're just like, I don't think I said it. You're like hiring a cybersecurity team to like, I mean, the mental gymnastics you have to do to just lack total self-awareness. And this is what I've really been disgusted with on the liberal media side and the liberal elites and the people who follow them and think that they're telling them the truth, because I know they're good people. I know, that's why I don't argue with Joy Reid on Twitter. I don't even, she doesn't even exist to me because she's so delusional. I don't have time for that energy in my life, but they actually believe themselves, and it's like they have no shame, they have no self-accountability. They're, Russia did everything, there's nothing I did wrong, and, when something like this collapses, I just think it's so funny that she thinks somebody hacked her, because she can't possibly fathom that she would say that. And a few things before I get onto the Kanye stuff, I want to say, one, there's a level of what's offensive, and I do think people should be nice to gay people and trans people. I mean, unless they're personally affecting your life and they're trying to, manipulate your family or something, I don't think it's a big deal. I think everyone should respect and love each other. But there's a level of fakeness on the social media activist side that's just so lame and so corny and so hypocritical, kind of like the Joy Reids. And I want to say, when I was on the street interviewing people at the Women's March, I was with Fleckas, filming. We were asking people, we were saying, did you hear that the pussy hat, because they wear the little pussy hats on their head, did you hear that the pussy hat was offensive to trans people because it's a vagina and not a penis? And every single person was waffling to that. They were like, oh yeah, you're right, we're not going to wear the pussy hats anymore because it's offensive to trans. It's to me, being somebody that is supportive of the LGBT community, there's a difference between just being blatantly, outwardly mean and rude to the LGBT community and this delusional activism of I'm going to wear a pussy hat because for some reason wearing a pussy on my head is going to make the world a better place. But then I'm sorry for wearing the pussy on my head because it offends trans people. That's not real activism. That's not helping trans people. That's not helping gay people. That's just the dumbest form of activism. And we're all so tired of this total waffling pandering. It's okay, you could support gay people and trans people without apologizing for wearing a pussy on your head. First of all, you should apologize for wearing a pussy on your head because you're wearing a pussy on your head. I mean, you could apologize for just being kind of delusional and thinking that wearing a pink hat on your head is going to somehow influence the world, and oh, I'm so much better than Donald Trump because I have a $10 pussy knitted on my head. I mean, you should apologize for that, or don't, I don't care, but apologizing because now this social justice hat that you made isn't inclusive enough, so we need to make a rainbow pussy hat with a penis sticking out of it just so everybody knows it gets all 10,000 genders. I mean, that's the type of activism that's just embarrassing. If you're gay or you're trans, own it, work it, have a good time, don't hurt anybody, don't be mean to anybody. But who cares? Who cares what people think? Who cares what people say? Who cares what hats people are wearing on their head? It's this is the level of activism. And these are people like Joy Reid. And I have to say, it's my guilty pleasure this year. I'm gonna make a confession. It's my guilty pleasure to watch social justice warriors devour each other's careers, and I don't like seeing people go down, or it's gonna happen to me eventually, and everyone's gonna yell at me, and I'm gonna make a mistake, and I'm gonna be like, oh, spoiler alert, I'm sorry, because I don't lack self-awareness. I'm not gonna be like, I hired an investigation team of 20 detectives to try to figure out if somebody hacked me and said, it's no, I'll just admit to it. I'll be like, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I was a moron when I was younger, or I'm a moron now. I don't know. I made a bad decision one time. I don't know. I can't fathom hiring an investigative team to try to figure out if I did it or not. It's that level of just delusion is just straight pathetic. But it is my guilty pleasure to watch social justice warriors devour each other, because when you believe in yourself and you have the anomaly or Kanye West mentality of hey, I can do it, anything's possible. Yeah, I could have been. I could have came from more money or more privilege. I could have came from less privilege. I had food and water and a family that cared about me. So, I'm very lucky. That's our mindset. We're happy, we're blessed. But this fake social justice warrior mindset that, is being facilitated by Twitter and Facebook and everybody, Starbucks, and, and I don't say this I have a problem with real activism. I know there needs to be real activism. There's some really weirdo guys. I saw one last night. Guys are weirdos, and I mean, women are sometimes victim to weirdo guys, and people are rude and stuff, but it's just my guilty pleasure to watch them swallow each other alive, because we're racing to the top. Me, Trump, Kanye, we want to win. Like, I'm not like an egotistical maniac, like, oh, I got to destroy everyone. But, you know, we want to win. I don't want to lose. If I play a game, I want to win. I want to have a good life. I want to enjoy myself. And, you know, I want to win. Social justice warriors like Joy Reid, they want to lose. It's like they're proud of losing. And if you win too much, they start to drag you down. Like, don't win. We need you to lose for us. And, like, we need to steal what you have. And it's a whole self-defeating mentality. So I'm just enjoying it. Unfortunately, just watching them waffle, you know, and I feel bad because I really just want to crack them out of that delusion like a nut, you know, just crack them out. And they're like, oh my goodness, I was a complete moron. Thank you, Anomaly. But it's my guilty pleasure because it's going to keep happening because you're never going to win because the whole premise of it is fake. The whole premise of it is totally smoke and mirrors. The whole premise of it is pandering and saying things and wearing little hats and then apologizing for wearing the little hats because the little hat that I knitted didn't have the colors that people wanted and it's offensive. But, well, does the rainbow have brown on it? Because there's some brown people from India who they feel left out because there's no brown on the rainbow. It's like this is the level of activism they're on. So I love to just see them like eat each other alive because you're never going to win being fake. You're never going to win pandering, and you're never going to win when you lack self-awareness. And this is like this is at the core. This is why I don't talk about people that much, and I don't like to get into it like as far as like, you know, I don't spend that much energy on Twitter arguing with people because there's no level. If you lack self-awareness, you know, I get to the core of everything. You know, love and fear, and, you know, I understand that people that are, you know, hateful and bigots, they're just fearful and they're hateful. You know, that's the root of it. That's why people like Daryl Davis, you know, it's a great documentary on Netflix. He was able to, you know, make 10 KKK members quit. You know, he's a black man, a musician who made KKK members quit. And he did so by being kind to them because they were just kind of cowards. You know, they were scared and fearful and hateful. But once they realized that there were smart, intelligent, really nice black people who were cooler than white people, he's like, oh, I'm not racist anymore because I like you better than white people. So it's like, I don't care what race, religion, or gender you are. You know, I don't subscribe to this like, oh, I wish everything was my race. It's like, I don't want to be around people that look like me. I want to be around people that act nice. You know, I have friends from all races, religions, and genders because I don't nitpick based on how people look. But I also know if someone is hateful towards me, they're not mad at me. They're probably mad at themselves. You know, they're probably hateful and fearful and scared and cowards. And, you know, that's how you disarm somebody and defeat them a lot of times with love. And I'm not saying be a total softy and like give up all your kitchen knives and, you know what I'm saying, like let people machete your house. I'm not that level of delusional liberal, but I do believe love is more powerful than hate. And I believe to beat someone who's a bigot, you know, you need to use these things. But the social justice warrior, you know, they don't get any of this, so they're wearing hats and they're apologizing for blog posts 15 years ago, but they're not sure that they said it, so they need an investigation team. And, you know, it's just so lame. You know, I don't know another way to put it, but I do hope that, you know, people do wake up from this delusion. And like I said, at a root level, I get to the root of it. Self-awareness, that's the word of the day. If this was Sesame Street, we'd say self-awareness, and it would come up on the screen and all the kids would repeat it because that is what, you know, some conservatives lack it too. It's not, nobody's above being a human being, so, you know, it doesn't matter what your political party is. But I do find that modern day liberals, especially the liberal elites and the people who follow them, completely lack self-awareness, like to the point where I've never seen something so bad. They're chasing these wild goose chases that they make up themselves, and they think they're such great people, and, you know, they make this narrative that, like, I'm so good and conservatives are such bad people, even though, you know, you go to the South, people are really nice, and you go to some liberal cities and they're not as nice sometimes, but sometimes they are. You know, I don't want to group everyone in because I have a great time in liberal cities. People are really nice. But you know, it's self-awareness. If you're not self-aware, it doesn't matter what your political preference is. You're going to just be delusional. So those two words, self-awareness and delusion, go hand in hand. And there's a lot of very delusional people like Joy Reid. And it's kind of funny, no offense, I feel bad, but it's kind of funny watching her like revel in her own delusion because she lacks self-awareness. And I mean, they've lied to themselves for so long. They don't want to do what Kanye West did or what I do and reach across the aisle and try to unite people because they're so dang delusional. So, and the irony of it as well is that they act like they care about the LGBT community and you know, Black and Latinos. But the second that a Black or Latino person or an LGBT person doesn't think the way they want them to think and is smart and is powerful and successful, they destroy them. No greater example than Milo Yiannopoulos, who is a gay Jewish kid who has a Black husband. He's married to a Black dude, and he always brags about it, and he's gay and Jewish. He got kicked out of a bar by a bunch of like foaming at the mouth liberals in New York City saying, "Get out, Nazi scum, get out, Nazi scum, get out, Nazi scum." And they all cheered when he left. I mean, he's gay and he's Jewish. Nazis hate Jewish people. I mean, have you read a history book? So it's like this level of delusion. They don't really like gay people. They don't really like gay empowerment. That's why I'm so strong against the liberal mindset. Yes, everybody makes mistakes. No, every libertarian and conservative is not perfect. But like, the liberals are such wolves in sheep's clothing. And it's like they love you when you're weak. They love you when you're knitting hats and rainbow colors, but then they waffle. "Oh, I'm so sorry that my hat didn't have a penis on it. I know that might offend trans people." I mean, if you're trans and you're mad at a hat because it doesn't have a penis on it, I mean, you're lame. Just like if you're a straight person and you're mad at that, you're lame. It doesn't matter what your gender identity is. It's like, who cares about what hat somebody's wearing? "Oh my God, someone has a Boston hat on and I'm a Yankees fan." Who cares? I don't want to talk about it. And of course, Boston fans will want to talk your ear off. "Oh, let's talk about the Red Sox." Let's not. So, you know, I'm just tired of this, like, oh, Diamond and Silk are a danger to our community because they're smart conservative women who are funny and, you know, love Trump and love America. And Milo's a Nazi even though he's Jewish because he's gay and he's kind of mean and funny. I mean, he's like a comedian. He's like an intelligent political analyst. He's like what Bill Maher would be if Bill Maher was more honest. I mean, Milo's hilarious. Like, I don't agree to everything he says, but spoiler alert, I'm me. I'm comfortable with being me, so I don't compare and hate Milo, because if I wanted to be Milo, I'd be Milo. And then I'd get, you know, heat for what, it's like, who cares? But it's like they don't really care about the LGBT community. They don't care about Black or Latino. They clearly don't like white people or conservatives. And, you know, it's like the second that you are one of the things that they pretend to like and you're powerful and successful and you're happy, they try to hammer you down. So it is my guilty pleasure to watch them hammer each other down because it's a race to the bottom. And on that side, they're just going to keep beating each other up because nothing they say makes sense. So that's my little bit on Joy Reid. God bless you, Joy Reid. You know, I love you. I appreciate you. But, you know, just take a week off maybe. I don't know, look in the mirror and be like, hey, you know what? Maybe I have some growing to do. Maybe I have some learning to do. Maybe I need to have a little bit of self-awareness and self-accountability because that's what the Democrats don't have. That's what the liberals don't have at all. And that's what's drawing people like me away from their political party. I mean, the fact that they have no self-awareness, they're just so disgusting to me. I can't ever imagine voting Democrat again, you know, unless they get a better leader because there's no self-accountability. They're like Joy Reid on steroids. It was, why did we lose? Well, besides the fact that we spent $1.2 billion running a terrible campaign and we told Bernie Sanders people they're losers and we told Donald Trump people they're deplorables and we didn't go to these states and we didn't do press conferences for 100 days and we're not good at debates and we went from like a charismatic, you know, well-spoken, you know, younger guy to like an older, angry, like woman who's not a good speaker. Ooh, I wonder why we lost. Is it our fault? Did we do anything wrong? No, it's the Joy Reid and Democrat mentality. It was the Russians, it was the Trump, it was the racists, it was the sexists, it was the xenophobes, it was the Zuz, it was you, it was me, it was everybody in the world, it was everything but me. And they're spreading this delusion onto the world. That's why I get so upset, because this delusion that they've created because they have no self-awareness, they spread that onto the world and spread that onto America like the plague. So now you have a lot of our people, our kids and our adults, they're delusional because they're watching delusional people have meltdowns like Joy Reid on television every day. And they're not good people. I don't think they're bad people per se, but they have a lot of growing to do, a lot of learning to do. They have no self-accountability. They have no self-awareness to the point where it's just repulsive listening to them talk. They're disgusting. You know, they have disgusting energy coming out their mouth. That's why I barely talk about it because it doesn't exist to me. People are like, have you heard of her? I'm like, no, I don't even know who that is. Because in my reality, like I just ignore it. It's just disgusting, weird energy. And that's what people, you know, hate about the Democrats.